Hello, New Mexico. Hello, United States. Hello, around the world. Today, we have a worldwide figure as my special guest. And I assure you, you know that old expression? Well, he doesn't need any introducing. It literally is true today. Because here's a man that literally is a household name throughout the entire world. And he lives right here. Well, he did. Now he's up north a little bit in the beautiful community of Chama, New Mexico. His name is Al Unser. He has a brother named Bobby, and then a son named Unser Jr. Those three have an unprecedented accomplishment. 9 checkered flags at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the racing family of the world, the most popular racing family on the globe. Unprecedented, or probably records are made to be broken. That's one I'll tell you right now that'll never be broken. You know, I went to the Indianapolis 500 to do that race covering Bobby L. Jr., Rick Gallus, and Jim Guthrie. I've been to 18. My goodness, that's a lot of races at Indy. But I've been there 18 times, and I watched Al win his third Indy 500. I was in high school for the first 2, but I was listening on the radio, and I always had this vision that someday I would make it to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I prayed I would be there. Whatever I had to do, I was going to be there to watch the Unsers. My grandfather and I used to sit on a chair in the backyard under a shady tree, eating grapes and apricots, just watching or listening, because I didn't have TV then of the race. And we listened, and man, every time they said the name Unser, man, you had me, undivided attention. But I got there finally, and then I was there 18 times. We're going live to Chama, New Mexico right now to visit with 4-time winner. You know him, you love him, and here he is again, Al Unser Sr. Al, good morning to you and your beautiful wife. How are you?
Fine, Henry, and boy, I'm going to use you as a good PR man. I haven't heard that story for so many years, but it's a pleasure being here with you.
You know, when I see Muhammad Ali told me, when you stop getting nervous for something you do, go do something else because it doesn't mean anything to you anymore. If you don't get those butterflies, then go do something else. Every time I watched you at Indy, you know, you're a veteran, you know, the ropes there, you know, you strap it in that car, you go over 250 miles per hour. You're a daredevil to us, but you're always so composed. But I guess what I want to say is, or ask, in all the times you races, did you still get that excitement in your gut? Did you still get the butterflies?
Yes, Henry, I did. In other words, you know, regardless of how many times you've been there and how many times you've won it, I still today get those butterflies in my stomach when I'm there. And they say, gentlemen, start your engines. It rattles me.
Wow.
And it makes me happy and yet sad in another way because I'm too old to do it now.
Well, when you were in your heyday, you were so exciting. You carried that great reputation that few people could carry because you took care of your equipment. Quote, count on Al Sr. taking care of that car and getting the full mileage out of it, of its capability. They may have made you a car that month that maybe was a little weak here and there, but because of your persistence of staying out of trouble, you made that car work and get to the checkered flag. You were known for that. Did you really enact that adjective of taking care?
Well, yes, Henry. You know, you first have to finish first to be able to get that checkered flag. So I always figured that if I, regardless of how I finished, as long as it was up towards the front, I was happy. Now, there's times that you fall back and you have to work your way back up if it's possible. And I was always fortunate to be able to pull that off. And how, I don't know. You know, I wanted to finish each and every race I ever raced, and you don't do that all the time. So it's a matter of, you know, making sure you keep the car together and you're gentle with it, you know, and it all works out sometimes.
Wow. Well, now we're going to back up a little bit. You were motivated. You had people all around you, brother Jerry and mom, and you had Bobby to motivate you. Racing in the family. I mean, go back as far as you can recall. Why did racing kind of dominate your pastime and brothers and all of that? Where did that inspiration for racing begin?
Well, I think when my brothers, the three of them, started racing when I was, 8, 9 years old. And I looked at them and I said, well, man, that looks like fun. And it looks like, I'd like to do it. And they finally let me, my folks let me. And then the governing body there in Albuquerque at Speedway Park out there, they wouldn't let me for 2 years because they didn't want me out there for some reason. And I think it was because my brothers went out there and won all the races. And, I was going to try to, but it's not that simple, Henry. But it all worked out. They finally okayed it. My father told them, say, if you don't let him run, I'll see you in court. Well, they didn't want that to happen. So they made up all the papers for my folks to sign, and they, of course, signed them, and off I went. And I started winning races the first day. And, you look back and you wonder how did you do it? And whether it was their total desire to do it, I don't know. I got it done and I started winning, and luckily, even when I joined USAC, I started winning there. So those are the guys that I used to look up to and say, man, if I could just race against them. And then all of a sudden, you're running against Ford, Mario Andretti, and Barnelli Jones, Jim Hurtubise. I can just keep naming them.
Wow.
And all of a sudden you're racing with them, and then you're starting out running. Well, that's when it's really, exciting for me.
Well, there's a phrase again that describes Michael Jordan, born to play the game. Were you born to race? Was Bobby born to race? Was Little Al born to race?
I don't know whether we were born to race or not, Henry, but we all wanted to. And just like I told Al Jr., I says, now, if you don't want to race, just tell me, and, we won't do it. But he always said he wanted to, and it made it nice. It really encouraged me to help him more and more as much as I could. And it finally worked out that he was the winner too. And what makes that, I don't know, desire. I think desire makes you shine.
Well, I'll tell you what, you had desire, you had work ethic, and you had that intangible, Evel Knievel was known as a daredevil. maybe some of that's in you and your son and your brother, and that's probably a slap in your face. You don't want to use that phrase, but you got to have that extra courage at least to get behind the wheel of a car that runs that fast. What do you call that intangible? Is it courage?
Oh, I don't know if it's courage, or whether it's just the desire to do it and to do well in it. I mean, it takes, I can remember every day of getting in a race car, and I get that same feeling, that I wanted to win. And that's what you want. You can kind of look at a guy's face, I can, and you look at different people getting in a race car, whether what driver it is, it doesn't make any difference. And you don't see that desire, that urge to do it, he's not going to be a winner. And it's what it is, I don't know. I wish I could answer you. I'd have probably been, a lot better off if I'd have known how to do that.
Well, if you don't see that look on an opposing driver's face, do you get worried that he may be a problem on the track?
Well, yes and no. That is one of those deals that you often wonder. Once he started that engine, things and got it running, maybe he got that desire. Maybe he, changed his look in his face or his eyes. So you never know. But when you raced against a guy that didn't have desire, you could always tell there was something wrong with him. He didn't have the desire to win.
Well, from Speedway Park to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, wow. And you can measure and tell us story after story, but if you don't mind, I'm going to jump around a little bit because to this day, Al, I think the Indianapolis 500 is the most interesting and most exciting sporting event in the world to this day. I've been to Super Bowls, NBA championships. I've seen them all. But as a reporter, I don't get the butterflies at the other like I do when that green flag goes up and here come you guys down the straightaway to start that big race. That gets you going. And there's everybody that can vouch for me that's at that track when they stand and they hear that big roar and here they can see the lineup coming at them. Wow, what a feeling, what a sight. Tell me about that moment.
Well, people always ask me, what made you get in a car? Or how did you feel the morning of the race? And I always said that one day I'll be able to stand there, I hope, and see the balloons go up. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but I never did see the balloons go up getting in the car, racing it, you did, I didn't. And I always wanted to know what that feeling was to see that all those balloons go up. Well, thank goodness I finally made it. I retired and there the balloons again. And then it gave me the same feeling as getting in the car. I said, man, I wish I could do it again.
Wow.
I love racing. And today if I had my life to live over, I'd do it again.
Well, let's go back to that moment when it's moments before race time. And Jim Neighbors gets out and sings Back Home in Indiana. And you got the national anthem and all of that. And there's some very serious, dramatic moments in there when they say, get in the car, you strap your gloves, get your helmet on, and it's quiet out there. The only noise we can hear is whatever noise you drivers are making, buttoning up, getting the helmet secure, the gloves or whatever. We can hear some of the strategy talk. The music starts, but wow, when you go into that solemn mood, that serious mood, and the song Back Home in Indiana is playing, I look at your face. You're somewhere, but I'm right in front of you. You don't see me. What are you thinking? What are you looking at? Where is your mind?
Well, that's an interesting question. I never did hear Back Home in Indiana that, you know, him singing it. I used to just, I think, just shut everything else out around me. Didn't know who I talked to. I didn't want to talk to them. I had one thing in mind, and that was to get in that race car and make no mistakes that day. And to run 500 miles and try to tell yourself not to make any mistakes, it's pretty hard. You know, you got to really talk to yourself, you know, and so it's one of those forms of being able to shut everything else out around you. And you have one thing in mind, like I said, winning that race or trying to win it. You never know beforehand, you know. So, yeah, you just hope that you don't make a mistake, Henry.
That is the ultimate in concentration that I've ever seen athletes get into. You know, I've been watching this series with Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance, and they concentrate. They're concentrating at the free throw line. They're in the huddle and they got their mind together. There's concentration. That's concentration at a whole different level. Where you go, very few people have ever gone, and I respect that, because what you do is dangerous, Sal. When you're traveling into those speeds, you better be concentrating, and you take it from there. If you got your mind thinking about other things, what's going to happen?
Well, you're not going to be able to do it if your mind is elsewhere, Henry. That's one of those deals where you have to concentrate. You cannot make a mistake. If you make the, you know, little mistakes, that's one thing. But if it turns into a big mistake, you usually hit the concrete wall.
Wow.
And that is not fun. I've
No.
hit every wall at that speedway, every corner. The 4 corners, I've crashed in every one of those corners, and it's no fun. There isn't any, you know, you have to get out and face yourself, and the press, you come up and say, what made you crash? I don't know, I just crashed.
And sometimes at Indianapolis, in those dramatic moments, here comes a reporter and asking a stupid question, and you got to tolerate and keep your cool there. You've just gone through a life or death situation, and you got to come up with an answer. So sometimes reporters stay away till the athletes at Indy have a time to regroup and regroup and take a deep breath. What's it like going at those speeds on the straightaways, Al?
Well, you know, you get used to it, Henry. It's one of those things that you know, you ask yourself once in a while, you know, what do you think about out there? And it's total concentration, as we just said, of making sure you do not make a mistake. And those mistakes happen down the straightaways, the short chutes, as we call them, like between turn 3 and turn 4, and 1 and 2, you know, the corners. Today they run around there wide open. They never lift, and they don't use any brakes. And my last year there, right there in that car, the March of the 25 car that's on the screen right now, I could run around there wide open at that time in '87. So it wasn't we started running wide open around that place in probably about 85, 86. And it's a handful. The cars didn't handle as good then as they do now.
You know, there's a feeling. You know, I don't think things are relative unless you've experienced everybody going at the same speed. But I can't even imagine. I did that little tourist thing going around the track in that very slowed down Indy car they have out there for the tourists. And that was scary for me. I can't even imagine traveling at 250 plus miles per hour down those straightaways. Is there a feeling? Do your eyebrows get frozen? What happens out there to the human body at those speeds?
Well, you know, you pull the G-forces at those speeds are roughly around 3.5 G's on every corner. So you have to be in physical good shape. You can't, you know, be half there and half somewhere else, and you're being in physical shape. So, you know, it's a handful, Henry. It's one of those deals that I keep saying, you can't make a mistake.
Growing up with Bobby and learning that craft, and you guys were not only brothers, but became very fierce competitors out there. But competitors, yes, but you were always concerned how brother Bobby was doing, and his love for you the same. He was always concerned about you because, man, that's not a place where the weak-hearted can be. You guys are going at the most fastest speeds that mankind has ever been involved in on the ground. The concern for your brother out there and thinking about him and how he's doing, what place he's in. But is your brother okay if he crashed or had a little miscue? Tell us about that part of it, the human element, the love for brother on the track. And then later,
Bobby and I was very competitive against each other. So, but yet when the yellow flag would come out, I'd push the radio button on the steering wheel and I'd say, "Is Bobby okay?" And my pit crew would say, "Yes, he wasn't involved. He's okay." And running against my son was the same way. I always thought running against my son would be easy because I ran against my brother. And that was a piece of cake, you know, I wanted out running. Well, when my son started running, it was a different feel. I was always way more concerned about Al Jr. than I was about Bobby. Bobby was just my brother, you know. It sounds terrible, but you don't think of that, you know. You just don't comprehend about him being that, you know, he's your kin, your brother, but your son or your daughter is a lot different. You know, it taught me a lesson.
how about being side by side with little Al on that track at those speeds? Would you acknowledge each other? You can't look too long because you lose your concentration, but you were aware who was next to you. That's your son, Al Jr., and he was looking at Dad right there with the whole world watching both of you.
Yeah, it's a great feeling to be able to look over and know that you're running against your son. You know, like I just got through saying, running against Al Jr. was a lot different than running against my brother Bobby. And it's just a feeling that's unbelievable. You know, you just can't imagine what it's like to be able to know that in 94 I retired. In 92, I should have been able to pass Al in Goodyear, Scott Goodyear. But my car and the tires went off, whatever you want to call it, and I didn't have the car running as good as I should have at the last of the race, and I couldn't catch him. and I ran third against him, you know, and to know that your son just won the race and beat you at the same time, it's a great feeling.
Wow.
It really is something that, you know, it's hard to imagine. I'm running out there at any racetrack, especially in Indianapolis, and know that your son just won the race and you finished third. Everybody says, well, you just finished third. I said, no, I just won this race. That was my son winning it.
The family, 9 checkered flags. You know, records are made to be broken with one exception, that record. How about it?
Well, I still think that one day another family will come along and do it, Henry. Yes, it's going to be difficult, just like it is being the 4-time winner.
Amen.
You know, there's only 3 of us that are that. So it'll happen, you know, and there'll be a guy, whether it's you, me, or somebody else, get that number 5 and be in heaven, you know. And they say, well, now is there ever going to be the 6th winner? And I'll say yes. You know, you never know, but it's going to be hard. It's not an easy task.
Well, others have threatened to get 5, but you and Foyt and Rick Mears have 4. Does Elio have 4?
Yes, and just the 3 of us, Rick Mears, A.J. Foyt, and myself.
Well, there might be somebody to catch you at 4, but that's a tough record right there. Wow, almost unprecedented.
There's a couple of drivers that, you know, won it 3 times. Helio Castanevis, he's won it 3 times, but he's rocking on that 4th one. And you wished you could answer what it takes to win. You know, none of us can. Even the 3 of us that have won it 4 times, it was just lady luck and being in the right place at the right time.
Wow. Taking you back when Little Al in 1989, running against Emerson Fittipaldi. Little Al has the lead, 2 laps to go, and he'll win his first. But Elio got into his back wheels, put him into the 3rd turn wall, and I was right there with my photographer. And, you know, as an emotional Albuquerquean, you got to be, level-headed, you got to be neutral. No, not when I'm watching my buddies, the Unsers, trying to win that race. I was upset at Elio or at Fittipaldi. But Little Al gets out of the car and gives them the hand clap. Emerson probably thinking maybe he's going to get a different kind of welcome in turn 2 or turn 3. But wow, what a moment in time of sportsmanship.
Yes, it was. I would have, you know, got out and threw my helmet at because, you know, he was so close to winning. But Emerson didn't mean to do that. He really didn't. If you could only look at the films of the 2 of them touching and knocking Al around, spinning Al out and Al hitting the wall. Emerson got sideways too. And usually at that speed, getting that far sideways, you never save it. You usually spin and hit the wall. And he, you know, lady luck or God took him and guided him, you know, and it wasn't his ability over Al or Al's ability over Emerson. It was just a racing accident that happened, and Emerson felt bad about it, and Al been able to walk out there and clap him and give him a heads up, you know, by holding up his thumb. I mean, that was, you know, true sportsmanship, I think, on my son.
Where were you on the track when that took place?
I'd already fallen out. I had troubles that day, so things were not good.
Were you watching a monitor?
Yeah.
Were you watching a monitor somewhere on pit row?
Yes, I was. Yeah. In other words, I got upset, and Al walked out there and gave him the thumbs up and clapped for him, and I just couldn't believe it, that he did that.
Well,
There's the two of them right there, and when they touched, it didn't quite show it, but
might be the next time around when they get to the white flag here, or no, two laps to go. But I'll tell you, that was one heck of a race, and that's what Indy literally is all about. Moments like this. The year that Little Al was there by an eyelash beating Goodyear. Wow, I'll never forget that as well. Let's see where this turn or what happens here. 4 laps to go. I think we have 2 more laps, and then we'll have that moment. But what a place to be. This race to me is everything, and I made it a point to go. For a reporter being there, and I was so grateful the way you and Bobby and Little Al treated me. Every time I was there, you treated me with great respect, and you took care of me wherever I was out there. There's Mrs. Fittipaldi, and here comes this moment in time coming up here pretty soon, ladies and gentlemen. So don't. And there's boy, Shelley's going crazy, and Mrs. Fittipaldi. Boy, it took every bit of prayer, and we're coming up to that moment here. You want to take it from here, Al?
Well, there you can see them both. Al's leading and Emerson running second. And Al already passed Emerson. And then they're coming down to the 2 laps to go there. Here it shows it right here. Al goes underneath the traffic, and he had to lift a little bit, the throttle. And it gave Emerson enough to catch him. And then that's when they touched. Right in there. In just a minute, right? Well, that's still not the right
Here they come.
There he hit. See, there, Al hit the wall.
They'll run a replay here in just a second that I think will describe it even more vividly. And that's a pretty good description there, but let's see if they run a replay of the coming into the turn there. Wow.
Emerson's wife and Shelley.
Here you go, Coach. Let's see.
But it's heartbreaking when something like this happens to you.
Oh, my goodness. What does it feel like to hit that wall at that speed, Al?
Well, you hit it awful hard. That's concrete. Now they have what they call safety barriers. There's Al walking out to give Emerson. I'd have taken off my helmet and thrown it at him or something. But, again, I'll say that Emerson didn't mean to do that. It was not intentional whatsoever.
Yeah, that was sportsmanship, and it's
they were trying to get Al to walk away because they knew that Al was going to do something. And he walks out and waves at him and gives him the thumbs up.
wow.
That's a true sportsman right there.
Amen. Well, I guess we just want to talk now. How is Bobby doing today? We all get a little older. Things stop working like they used to. We get out of shape a little bit, but how's Bobby these days?
Well, I really don't know. I haven't talked to him lately, but I think he's doing all right.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, yeah. I'm getting older, and I don't know why, and I don't want to go to that other place, so I'm good. No, everything's good. Susan and I are up here at Chama, and we're enjoying the world.
Amen. And little Al, I hope he's smiling a lot these days and kicking his heels back some and golfing or whatever he likes to do.
Yeah, he's back. He lives in Indianapolis now again. So I don't know what he's doing back there. I don't keep track of him, you know. I talk to him every once in a while, but, you know, he's doing good too.
Well, I drive by your beautiful homes out there on West Central. I think about you. I've been in your den or your awards room or museum, whatever they call that big room in your home with all those checkered flags and trophies and photographs. And then I've been over to the museum that I want to talk about last year. But being in your home and seeing those 9 checkered flags of the family and everything else in there, it takes a long time to look at it all because there's so much there. But I was so privileged to be in there one day interviewing you. And I'll tell you, I felt the moment because I said, what is HenryT doing in here? This is a special moment in my career. Wow.
Well, you're going to have to come down to our museum on Montano down there, Henry.
I've been there. Everybody else has to.
You know, there's different cars in there now, and, you know, and we love it. You know, it's I go down there soon I do, and I get the same butterflies. I look at each car and I say, oh, I won with that one, man, and it rattles me, you know. But come back and see us.
Oh, amen. And you know, the narration and all the video in there, it's so well done. My opinion again, I've been in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. I like yours more. I like yours better. A lot of stuff narrated. It's so well organized. It's so clean. You got the cars shined up like they're ready to race today. That's a major experience that I hope you go to, ladies and gentlemen. Make it a point. Now that you're off all these days, I hope in the near future you get to visit this museum. It's one of a kind. I like it better than the Indy Museum, Al.
Well, I appreciate that compliment, Henry. That makes me very happy. But the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has a big museum, beautiful too. So, you know, we like ours, and it's, you know, we love it. Just
Tell us about it. Sell us on getting out there and walking in that museum that I say is a mandate for everybody to achieve in your lifetime. If you're a New Mexican, especially, get down there and go through that museum.
Well, we have motorcycles, we have stock cars in there. It's just not all about the Unsers. It covers all forms of racing. We have go-karts in there. We have midgets, you know, race cars, antique cars. So, you know, we got a little of everything, Henry, and it's something I think to see. You know, people enjoy it when they come in. They say, well, I never thought it would look like this. I said, what did you think it was going to look like, a greasy garage? You know, just open with them, you know, and come and see us. That's all I can say.
You know, you hit on a point that I'm glad you brought up. When you go into a garage in Gasoline Alley at Indy, they're the cleanest rooms I've ever been in. You can eat off the floor. Am I right? Why are mechanics and racing people impeccably clean?
Yes, sir. Yeah. If the garage and the mechanics aren't clean, how can your race car be clean and put together right? You know, and so yes, you're so right. The mechanics and the garages back there at Indianapolis are spotless. You know, you can almost eat off the floors.
Amen.
There isn't anything like it used to be 100 years ago or 50 years ago. No longer than that. It'd be 75 years ago. I got to backtrack the right way, see. But it's neat. I'm sure.
Couple more questions here.
Right.
You know, your reputation throughout the world, I can't just say New Mexico. I can't just say Indy. I can't just say the United States. You are recognized worldwide. Do you mind talking about, for the family, you individually, having worldwide fame?
Yes, it is. I think, when we go someplace, and it tickles me as I've been retired since '94, and I still go places and they say, aren't you Al Unser? I say, yeah, I am, just today. But it's really neat to be recognized like that, Henry. It's an honor and gives me a lot of pride to be able to answer. And yes, it is me. And it's fun. It brings back a lot of memories. You'd be surprised on the people that come into the museum down there, and they'll ask a question about one of the race cars that's in there, and I have to think, how to answer them because it's been a long time. But they says, I've always wondered about that situation that you were in or did or whatever you want to call it. And they're very sharp people. They're very quick knowing, yes, that's where I thought, and to answer you. So it makes it neat to be able to go places and be recognized. Yes.
Wow. And, I was there on the track covering the race when Little Al and Rick Gallis are standing there with me, and we were watching you get into your car, and Little Al says, next year I'm going to race here, Henry. And that was the year before his rookie year that him and Rick Gallis came together. What an exciting moment in time that was. And, years-wise, that's a long time ago, but to me, it seems like yesterday. But to see your son watching you get all buckled up and in, and he tells me that so calmly, next year I'll be here too, Henry. Ooh, that was a big moment.
To have Rick Gallis from Albuquerque with a winning combination with Al winning the Speedway in '92. I mean, that's amazing, for a country boy, whatever you want to call it, and a country dealership, which I don't believe is a country dealership, but to win that race, it just showed, determination. And the Gallis family had determination, and Al Jr. had determination, and they ended up beating all of us.
We only have a few minutes left. I know you're getting tired of listening to HenryT, but I'd go to Hojo's after I got off the airplane a couple of days before the race, and Hojo's, Howard Johnson's down there by the freeway on 16th Street. And you were so nice to me, Al. I'd say thank you. You'd say, Henry, go have a big steak over there. Here's some hamburgers over here. Cool, calm, and collected Al Sr. inviting me to take part and have some food. And this is maybe the night before the race or something. And that was a big moment for me. Here's a chance for me to say thank you for all that hospitality to HenryT.
Well, Henry, I appreciate that compliment because you are a good man, good reporter, a good talker, and a good, we won't get any further into it than that because you're all right, and to deal with you at Indianapolis as a reporter from Albuquerque, that was very important to us, I think. And it was to me anyway, and it was to Bobby and to Al Jr.
Thank you. The moment of the race, you and Bobby got me hooked up in the caravan of a long line of cars with two state cops out front, and we're going the back ways. You couldn't go down 16th Street. It was impossible. The police got us through the back ways, got us in the gate, in like 5 minutes from Hojo's. You guys had the contacts. You recall those moments?
Yes, I do. And it, you know, it takes me longer today to get in there, I'll tell you, than it did at that time, you know, because we were racing that day, that, you know, morning. So it made it very nice for the Indianapolis Police Department to come out and help us get in.
Amen.
It really did. That's when you sit up and you say, boy, this is neat, you know, and we'd all gather around and thank them. And they should have been thanked because they took it upon themselves a lot of times to help us out. And there we were, right in the speedway, like you said.
Amazing. Your most exciting moment in your business, racing, where, if you can recall, you've had millions. That's an unfair question. If there's one or two that are at the top of your list as you drive down the freeway or sitting back in the country and the memory of that place comes back, what comes to mind?
When you receive that checkered flag.
What's that feeling like?
That is a great, great feeling. That's unbelievable of being able to have that feeling. It's hard to explain, to say, well, it's just a good feeling. It is not just a good feeling. It is a feeling that you've worked very hard for in your life. And when it comes down to it, you finally accomplished that day of getting that checkered flag. And it is an honor to be able to get out of that car and drink that milk and just celebrate of being able to be the guy that wins the Indianapolis 500-mile race. It's just unbelievable.
Your existence today, your pleasures today, at your still young age, you look great, Al. How about life for you on this day?
Well, like I said, my wife and I, Susan, we're up here at Chama. I get on a tractor and go move gravel or dirt or mow the grass up here. And so it keeps me busy. Both of us, you know, she has alpacas and she's, you know, makes blankets for them and from their fleece. And so we both stay busy up here. We both have a desire to still enjoy life. And that's what we do.
Beautiful. They say behind every great man is an even greater woman. That it's hold true in your home?
Yes.
Amen. Behind the great man, Al Unser, is a great woman, Susan, his beautiful wife. And she really, she takes care of you. Is that accurate?
Yes, she does. If I didn't have her, I'd be in trouble. And you know how that goes, but no, it's an honor for the two of us to face each other and say, hey, we've done it, and it's fun.
Amen. And just to reiterate again, I've been there as a reporter 18 times. I hope I can go 18 more times to watch racing in Indianapolis. Is that something that every American should experience at least once?
I say yes, tremendously. I mean, you can't believe walking out there race day morning, whether you're a driver or a spectator, and to look up and see that many people at one time in one place. It's just amazing. I still do it today, and I still shake, and I still get the butterflies, you know, and it's just an honor to be able to walk out there and look around and see all the people, whether they know you or they don't know you, but they know you. You can bet on that.
Oh, amen.
It's just I mean, it's unbelievable. And then, you know, usually we get to ride around in a pace car and the morning of the race and to be able to hear them yell for you, you know, of your day, in your day. You know, it's neat. You know, when you're in the race car and the loud exhaust noise, you never did hear it. But then in the passenger car riding in the back seat, you hear it, and it's a great feeling.
You know, explain something technical before we get out of here. I know we're pressing up to our deadline here, but drafting. You know, we see it, we hear the words, we hear the commentators describe drafting. You've been in drafting all of your life. Explain to us lay people what literally is drafting.
Well, it's when you follow another car going 150 to 250 mile an hour, and you get right behind them. There's a pocket back there because of the front car, whether it's a stock car or an Indy car, it's breaking the air, going through the air. And in back of the car, there's an empty place. Well, when you get in that empty place, that's when drafting takes effect. And you'll have to actually lift on the throttle and get on the brakes sometimes if you're drafting too close. So drafting is very important. I don't think they draft near as much because the way the aerodynamics are on an Indy car right now is it disturbs the air too much and it makes the car bounce around and it gives the driver an unsecure feeling when they draft too close.
Is it sort of a slingshot? Is it kind of a slingshot method of getting you out there in front?
Well, what you do with the slingshot, you come up and you're gaining on the car. It means you're handling better than he is. And you go up and you get into that draft and you yank it out right away into the air and go by him. And that's what they call a slingshot. You know,
Wow.
You can get by him without disturbing him or you of any danger.
Wow. Well, I've asked you about every question humanly imaginable today, but I did it back then. And personally, one more time, I don't want the listeners here because they were watching their TV of HenryT back in Indianapolis on top of that tower. And Jim McKay of ABC, one afternoon, I had lunch with him up there. And here I am talking with the famous Jim McKay, the thrill of victory, the agony and defeat guy. And he was so nice to me. But he allowed us to use ABC's facilities to do a live satellite from Indy back to Albuquerque. And it was the first time it was ever done. So I was part of electronic history from Indy, a live shot from Indy for New Mexico. Wow. And there I was with you and Bobby, and I'll never forget that moment. Thank you.
You're welcome, and we'd like to be able to do it again, Henry, but we can't. Let's don't say we can't, because we can. We're still alive and still going after it. So let's try to do it again.
Well, and we'll do this again, but you gave us a lot of your time, and thank you to Susan for helping us put all this together as well. But Al, when I look at you, I recall so many great memories, but the biggest thing I'll never forget is the respect you've always given to me. And even to this day, you're still giving me that warm respect. And I want everybody around the globe to know what a good man this is. He's humble, he's accomplished a lot, but he's very accessible. I call him short notice. He's sure, Henry, let's do it. That's the kind of man you're watching right now. Very accomplished. He's a world champion, and he's extremely humble. And that's my final phrase today, Al. Have a great weekend, or have a great day, and thank you to your beautiful wife and I hope to do this again. But for today, this went off without a hitch. We had a good car today. We crossed the finish line.
Yeah, it's very good, and I appreciate all the compliments you just said, because you're a good man, Henry, and thank you.
All right. See you guys soon, okay?
That's the deal. It's time to do it again.
Is there one last thing you want to tell your thousands of fans across the world right now? Because a lot of people everywhere are watching this show.
Well, let's hope we get rid of the virus that we have, and all the fans come to the next race, you know, and enjoy it, because we'll be there. And we would love seeing you from New Mexico or from whatever form of country you're in. Just come to see us and enjoy the racing. Where is
the museum? Tell them.
It's on Montano, 1776 Montano. It's if you come down Interstate 25, it's exit 228, and you go west about 3 miles, and it's on the left-hand side. So it's 717 Montano.
All right. With that, we call it a day. Take care. Be nice and comfortable today in Chama, New Mexico. Thanks, Al.
Thanks, Henry. Bye-bye.
Take care. What a thrill for me professionally to do this again with Al Unser. And a special thank you to Susan, his beautiful wife, for her part today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The virus that causes COVID-19 and other pathogens are reminders that bad air can kill. You want protection to keep you healthy and give you peace of mind, but you won't settle for just any protection. You want the best out there. Active Pure. The Active Pure system has origins in the NASA space program. It's even been inducted into the Space Foundation Hall of Fame. Active Pure is used daily by hospitals, schools, sports arenas, restaurants, government buildings, homes, and more. So how does it work? The Active Pure system dispatches invisible supercharged submicroscopic particles at tremendous speed. The particles collide with viruses, bacteria, and other nasty things and immediately turn them into harmless byproducts. Active Pure works immediately on both air and surfaces. It comes in portable units built for any space, from gigantic ballrooms to elevators. It's affordable, easy to install, and virtually maintenance-free. It's like invisible personal protective equipment, or PPE, for you and your pets. Sounds too good to be true? Independent FDA-compliant lab testing has shown that within minutes, Active Pure neutralizes more than 99.9% of pathogens, including the virus that causes COVID-19. The Active Pure Medical Guardian, powered by the same Active Pure technology as our other products, has been cleared by the FDA as a Class II medical device. There's only one Active Pure. Beware of claims for other systems like HEPA, bipolar ionizers, and UV light. They're passive and slow. Some trap pathogens, but don't destroy them. In fact, many of them are so dangerous people can't even be in the same room while they operate. No system cleans the air faster, safer, or more effectively than Active Pure. To give your family and your customers peace of mind, choose Active Pure, protecting lives with air you can trust. To get Active Pure for your home, office, store, or organization, contact your local distributor.